is now complete. And so, after a very, very even first half, a goal for Hakimi ruled out correctly for offside by Nuno Mendes in the build-up. And it's been a high-quality game of football. There was a ball off the line as well from Guardiol. City had one or two efforts of their own, including a Savinho shot, well saved by the legs of Donnarumma. And so in a game that neither side can really afford to lose, it is dead level. Paris Saint-Germain 0, City 0.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. It's 0-0 as City take on PSG in the Champions League. It is half-time. I'm still joined in the studio by David James and by Izzy Christiansen. And I have been holding my breath for the last minute or so, but I am now having a massive sigh of relief because PSG had a goal in the last couple of minutes of the game that was offside, and it was offside. But oh, David, for a good 30 seconds, my heart had sank there.
There were some loud noises in the studio, wasn't there? Coming from you. And to be fair to you, looking at the graphic that they show now with the offsides, it was literally a kneecap. Very close.
It could literally be a kneecap or it could be 5 feet, David.
Exactly, yes.
It is offside.
Yeah. Thankfully for you.
Yes, very thankfully for me. So it's half-time in the men's game. The women's game, City taking on Manchester United in the League Cup quarter-final, is into the 89th minute. City still winning 2-1. I'll let you know when that goes full-time. So in terms of that first half for City, Izzy, what was your kind of general first half analysis?
Good game. I think Ali just said it at the end there on commentary. Really good sort of level of football, high intensity, you know, end-to-end proper Champions League game. But of course, we still need City to carve out that sort of clean open. There's been some nice little slick pieces of play in and around, sort of getting Phil Foden on the half turn in beyond and looking to feed those passes into Haaland. And I think Savinho's looked really sharp. I think De Bruyne's maybe not quite found his range yet, which I would say if you're a glass half full type of person, that's exciting for the second half because I'm sure he'll be having a word with himself. But yeah, no, I think it's perfectly poised for second half, and I think it's a big plus that goal was offside and chalked off because that will have deflated PSG a little bit.
We like that, Izzy, a lot, yes. We like that half glass full because that is, yes, ominous if he's not in yet. I also like slick because slick is a word to describe the game tonight, partly down to the immense amount of rain that seems to be falling in Paris tonight. You can see the stats there. City, 42% possession in the first half. Very rarely we see City playing a game with less of the possession, David.
Can I just say something about the stats?
Yes.
Attempts there on target, Paris Saint-Germain 2, goalkeeper saves 2, which suggests that he's made 2 saves. If it hadn't been for Guardiol clearing one off the line, which I believe is an attempt on target, but it actually goes down as a block, not an attempt on target. So that's probably why the stats look a bit well, they do to me anyway.
Really? I never knew that.
It's a strange,
How is that not an attempt on target?
Thing. You can hit the middle of the goal, the defender clears it, it's a block. If the goalkeeper accidentally stops it from going in, it becomes a save. Anyway, I think it's been a really, really good game.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the conditions have played into that as well. And a plus and a negative point. There's been positions, as Izzy was saying there, the passing movement, even Kevin De Bruyne perhaps, because the way that you need to be able to manipulate the ball, and it's so much easier when it's dry. Because it's so wet, the contact's not quite right, and the few passes have gone too far. But it's been end-to-end. It's going back to, I think it was Guardiol, no, it might have been Nunez's throw-in. Looks more like a 3-point there at one point. It's been like a basketball game. Really, really entertaining. And not in an end of Champions League qualification, no one cares what the result is, but in a both teams need to win way. So what a game. Yeah.
It really has. It's been such high tempo in that first half, Izzy, and like David says, partly probably because of the weather as well, which adds that extra edge of excitement in it. But yes, definitely two teams both playing, knowing effectively, especially PSG, they need to win. But I've really enjoyed that high temponess of the first half.
Yeah, it's been great to watch. I think the possession stats we took from there was 42% possession City, 58 for Paris Saint-Germain. I think City will be very happy with that because I feel like we are, without saying the obvious, in Champions League mode where City are happy not to have complete control of the ball because we want those moments to catch them off guard and kind of lull them into a false sense of security and let them think they've got control, and then using Haaland on the break. There's been a few times he's managed to open his legs and get, you know, a high speed running behind. We just need to find those little passes in between the centre backs to slip him in. But I think it's poised really nicely for a second half of excitement, and hopefully, I wonder whose scoreline or prediction will be on. We don't know, but I said 3-1. You said 2-1, didn't you? Nice.
Yep. David said 4-1.
David said 4-1. That's ambitious, that now.
Yeah, the second half, loads more.
Yeah, loads
always
of
goals in the second.
Always goal. I mean, there has been chances in that first half. I mean, chances for both teams as well. Haaland had the first opportunity in the 20th minute. It was a header, but it was a fairly easy opportunity for Donnarumma to catch there. There has been other opportunities. I think the one that you mentioned, David, the key one of the half was that Vardiol block on the line. It came from, first of all, a David Silva. Oh, weren't those the days? Bernardo Silva block that went out for a corner. It came back in. It was Vardiol on the line. You mentioned there in the stats how important that block was, but I mean, it cannot be underestimated how important he was on the line. Some of the PSG players put their hands up, but obviously we know it didn't cross the line.
Yeah, and it frequently gets mentioned in commentary, doesn't it, about how teams now don't put players on the far post. Vardiol wasn't on the far post. He was, I think, on the edge of the 6-yard box, and the way that move developed, he sensed danger, and retreated to the line. And I mean, he's lifted his knee up. He's such a quality player. I'm surprised he didn't control it. I'm joking.
And bring it down and
play out. No, it was.
Phil Foden would have.
Phil would have. Yeah, I know. We all love Phil.
But Phil does not have the defensive instincts of Guardiola, does he?
No, true. I mean, the point being is,
he's a good player. But
we and even with the disallowed goal, it's funny because when we were doing the montage before the show, we were showing all the blocks from Diaz. When I first saw the goal, I'm thinking he didn't try and block that very well, but you didn't see the deflection until he was behind. But again, this is where City, I think, as a team, and PSG are playing well. We knew they were capable of putting some good football together, but they're all putting their bid in, as Izzy says, to go in at half-time 0-0 and going, OK, we're in a good place here.
Yeah. Few chances for City in the last sort of 5 minutes. Savio had a chance that was saved by Donnarumma. You mentioned him before, Izzy. In terms of chances in the first half, was that the best one for City that you recall, the Savio one? Yeah,
I'd say so. Yeah, I think really good, slick attacking move, getting him in down that left-hand side. If we're being really critical, I think the angle was quite tight for him. I think it was a good save by Donnarumma, got down well. Dave might, disagree, but I thought it was quite a routine save. But I think the angle was quite tight. But he did really well to get it across the goalkeeper's, across the face of the goal, because if he didn't get a good hand to it, it could deflect and land in the path of anyone oncoming, like Haaland or Foden, for example. But that was definitely the best chance of the half, and it's looked really positive for City because they're just waiting for that moment. It's a different game to the Ipswich game in terms of the quality of chances so far. But it's similar in some respects in that we've managed to get players, running. A lot of teams just tend to block, and stop the space. But City have got this space to play in, which is really exciting.
In terms of PSG's forward line, David, playing with what looks like to me a false nine, how has that affected or how has that changed City's defensive setup? Because I've noticed a few times perhaps Diaz or Akanji in the middle moving up a bit more because of the false nine. Is that right?
Yeah, going back, I'm thinking Brentford game for sure. I'm trying. How did they set up? Was it a back three against Ipswich? I mean, they had so much possession. It kind of doesn't make too much difference. In this, they're obviously out of possession a lot of the time. Whether Pep changes it and looks to go three, and then one can step out. Go three ends up five, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So one steps out into the hole to take up that false nine position. It might make it easier, but for the amount of possession that PSG have had, Eddie hasn't had, even if we're talking about clearances from a corner, Eddie hasn't been overworked. So a lot of it's still good, very good from City at the moment, and whether Pep needs to change it because he doesn't see the threat. I think the disallowed goal might get him to think a little bit, but he might also, there's lots of mights here. He might look at it great defending because no one dropped off and played him onside. It was perfect. It's whether or not it goes to three, steps into the hole. We'll see.
There's been a couple of bookings in the first half as well. Izzy, Ruben Diaz picked up a booking, Mendes picked up a booking. I feel like Marquinhos should have had one. I mean, I think perhaps the referee forgot because the play went on for so long.
Maybe, yeah. I think the Mendes one, definitely. It was very cynical. And I think the Diaz one was... I think it was a little unfortunate because I think it's natural when a defender spins in the channel to track a run to move your body. And yes, he's put his arm across, but I think more out of intelligence rather than... But I understand it's blocked the run of the forward who was running in. But it's good play from Diaz because he knows he's in a foot race and he had to get his body across. And that's the risk you take with when you step up. You have to be able to deal with the space in behind. If you're not fully in control, you do need to commit a foul in a space where it's not going to cause you as much damage as if the play carries on.
Izzy, I've got some good news for you.
Full time.
I've got some good news for you all. It is full time. City have beaten Manchester United in the quarter-final of the Women's League Cup. What a bounce back after Sunday's defeat. So City move into the semi-final where they will play Arsenal, who are currently beating Brighton and Hove Albion 3-0. So it will be the winner of that game. I'm saying it will be Arsenal in the semi-final. What a phenomenal, phenomenal result. That game was available to fully watch on City Plus, and of course you will get full match replay and highlights as well. I will be watching that. I cannot wait. Just a quick word on the women on how good that is, that result, not only for the semi-final, but to bounce back after they beat us on Sunday.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think, huge resilience. You know, it wasn't a great performance in the derby. Probably wanted to put a better performance on in front of the fans at the Etihad, but sometimes, you know, you've got to give a bit of credit to the opposition as well. Like, they had a good game plan, but it was all about using the last couple of days to regroup, bounce back and show what you're made of, and that's exactly what they've done. Having not seen much of the game, I don't care. The result is all that matters, and 2-1, that's a banging result, and into another semi-final, which is mega.
Yeah, we were trying to watch both. We had the women's game on a laptop on the table and the men's game on the big screen. But it's actually really hard to stay in touch with two games at the same time. So I will be watching the full match replay that will be available on City Plus. Now, we spoke to some fans earlier in Paris. They had some questions for you. Well, we've got some more questions for you now. So this is our official supporters group in Paris, and they wanted to ask you both some more questions. So what have we got?
Hello, it's Lloyd from Paris, and I have a question for David. How far do you think City will go in the Champions League?
Oh, great question. I want to say, is it the $50 million question or the whatever? For everything we said in the build-up of the show, I think the dip in form that Manchester City have experienced recently, they've turned that corner. I think qualifying, hopefully tonight with a 4-1 win. But everything is lining up for City to get back into full steam ahead, and I can envisage, if that happens, the final appearance for City. Yeah.
Nice.
Are you not committing on the final?
Sorry?
You're not committing on what will happen in the final?
It depends who they're playing.
Fair enough.
No, I think everything is gearing itself up for City to have a proper run at the Champions League.
Oh, please. Thank you. Love that question. Thank you very much. Right, we've got another question coming through.
Hi, it's Ali Benavia. Just a question to David. What do you think about the best stadium for you? Is it the Parc des Princes or not sure, Main Road? You can tell me.
Ali Benavia, one of my favourite City players of all time, David.
He's cheeky. I probably had my worst game ever at that stadium.
I think he knew that.
I think he knew that. Someone's probably reminded him. The best stadium ever, Kenilworth Road, Luton. I'm a Luton Town fan.
Wasn't expecting you to say that.
I never played there either.
But you just like it.
But the thing is,
Close.
I listen to you guys talking about how much you love Manchester City. I listen to the fans, and I meet fans around the world about how much they're so passionate about their team. Well, Luton was my team, so for all the warts and broken bits, it's still, you know, my thing there for Luton.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you, David. And thank you very much to Ali Benabia as well for the question. What a thrill to have Ali Benabia randomly popping up on the show. I absolutely love that. So we will be back at full time, where hopefully we are talking about an incredible evening for Manchester City. It's still 0-0. Arsenal are currently winning as well, which we know we need. If we can win tonight, we will definitely qualify for the playoff stages of the Champions League. So you'll get your second half commentary on the Manchester City app if you're not currently on there. Switch over now. Alistair Mann and Nikki Weaver. We can see there the teams are chatting. They're chatting to the referee. They're heading out. Do you think they're chatting about that offside? Do you think they're saying that was not offside? No, never. Because in the referee's going, no, definitely. It definitely was.
Look at that.
There we go, David. It was a kneecap.
It's like an advert for sore knees, that is.
For knee support.
Pain relief. Pain relief in this area. Well, it definitely was offside. So thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations to the women again that have made the semi-final of the League Cup. The players are coming out, so we'll hand back over now to Alistair Mann and to Nikki Weaver.
Welcome back to the Parc des Princes, where there is an early substitution, and what a substitute to be able to bring on Ousmane Dembele. He was ill at the weekend, but obviously fit enough to take a place on the bench. He is a match changer, a match winner, and he is coming on. But so too is Jack Grealish and Rico Lewis. Savinho I can see in his coat, so he's gone off. Just trying to see who the other player who's gone off might be as well. So changes for both head coaches at half-time.